we just went live and I'm trying not to sneeze. I'm using all of my self-control to contain it and not.
I'm going to do my anti-sneeze voodoo, Jill. You're not allowed to.
Perfect. Perfect. Um,
It's-
what's going on?
oh gosh, what's going on with me right now? Well, let's see. I got in this afternoon from a couple of interviews here locally in Squim. We'll talk about those later. And we just been dealing with putting up with this aggressive snow. I don't know if you guys got a little bit of white stuff. I was talking to my son earlier today. I'm from the town of Spring Tucky, the Willamette Valley, Eugene, Oregon, and they got a little bit of the white stuff down there. And out here in the Pacific Northwest, I mean, we're a delicate variety. Like when we get that snow, it's major freak out time. So we're just now thawing out. I've got more interviews I got to do tomorrow, so I can't do any more of the Santa stuff.
Yeah, we I haven't looked outside. It's supposed to allegedly it's supposed to start snowing again this evening, but yeah, we had a pretty decent snow come through this morning.
Yeah, and I'm reading here in
Yes.
the comments, it looks like it's already started in Little Kitsap County, which isn't too far from the I-5 corridor, Tacoma in particular. So why don't you guys be our Dave Sweeney? That was my local weatherman when I was growing up, and tell me when that cold front's moving through. Maybe by the time we're done here, we'll have to pull ourselves out by the bootstraps to
By
make
the
this
what?
happen.
Now,
But
full disclosure, which is always a good thing. Brett is at the movies, and I'm trying to figure out how to moderate the chat, maybe, or kind of keep my eye on what's going on.
I've got a little bit of it here. So if there's any stinkers in the audience here, I may have my hands full, but I still have full use of this keyboard. So y'all behave yourself. And if there's any highlighted comments here that are urgent, why don't you put an exclamation point at the beginning and the end of your sentence? And then I'll bring up your clever little comment here, like this one here from Jackie Barnes. Dave Sweeney was my weather guy also. Yes, Jackie, you remember Dave. Do you remember Rambling Rod, though? Not a weatherman per se, but he was second to none. I think Jill remembers Rambling Rod.
Did you ever go on the Ramble and Rod show?
Were you? No,
Were
I
you
was
one
not
of
that
those
cool.
kids? No. No, we lived at the beach. Like, if my parents had to drive into Portland for anything, it better be like a medical emergency or back to school shopping. I was denied. I was denied the Ramblin' Rod
Mm.
experience.
Looks like the chat's loading up here. Gockett, Chris,
Ah,
Renee Drew, Douglas Geffman, Vince Marshall. Some new names here for the kids on the Flash of Beauty Children's Show. Thanks for joining us here. Congratulations last week to our big winner of a Flash of Beauty trivia. We'll try to bring that back to you
yeah,
coming here. And
you never got back to us. You got who was the winner? Is Sovereign? I have it
oh,
written down somewhere, but you know who you are.
yeah,
Email us or message us, and we'll get you all squared away.
we can't do it for you, Sovereign.
I can't do everything.
We're
Like I
not your
can't
mommy.
figure out this.
Well,
Mm,
well, don't worry about it, Jill. I've got it here. If
okay,
someone gets out of control, Nancy Fry's in the chat right now, and she don't take no BS, so she
good.
will let me know.
Okay.
Nancy, you stick with
Whew.
it.
All right. Okay. Well, so
Well, there's some things that we wanted to get through here, but first thing we should probably talk about is what's coming up next month because we have something big here, and we probably need to start pushing what's coming next month. So, do you want to get what's going on in Baker City?
yeah, so this is the event that was postponed from last fall. Brett and I had completely overcommitted and stretched ourselves too thin, and it just wasn't coming together. We weren't fully committed. No, aware. We needed more time. We needed more time. Um, so that's the same event that's been rescheduled for March 14th, 15th, and 16th in Baker City. And first off, at the Geyser Grand Hotel, it is a haunted hotel. And Brett and I've had crazy experiences there. And Tobe, you totally triggered me to remember because you said, oh, I was trying to find, something ghost related, like a photo that was taken there. Brett and I actually caught something on camera in our room while we were there. And of course, like I said, he's at the movies, but that's something that I can have him dig up, and I'll post it in the community section, a little bit off topic from Bigfoot, but I think people would still like to see it. So aside from being a beautiful historic haunted hotel, we got a great lineup of people. Uh, Friday night we'll be screening the movies. And then on Saturday, let me just look at the schedule here. We have Ashley Stinnett, who you know from A Flash of Beauty, Paranormal Bigfoot. We have Angelique Benham from Legacy Discoveries. We have Jeff Rohn, who was featured in A Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot Revealed. And we had him back for an additional interview because we only scratched the surface with him. And he's been doing a lot of ongoing investigating in the Oak Ridge area, which I'm excited to learn more about. James Shupsky from the Gorge, from Margie's Outdoor Store. He'll be talking about all the paranormal weirdness going on there. Uh, there is a historic hotel tour in there if you're interested. And then we'll have Tobe. You'll be talking about paranormal Bigfoot. And then we'll do a little bit of a wrap up panel with me and Brett. And then there's a VIP dinner, and that's going to be for presenters and ticket holders. You have to buy a special ticket to do that, but it's amazing food, and it's going to be a fun time. And I hope everyone can make it out because Baker City is such a cool area just on its own. If you're into like the whole Wild West idea of living out your Western fantasies, Baker City is a good place to do it.
Pay dirt. That's a gold mining town. Look at this place here. I mean, it's just I mean, it has the vibe, right, of something else going on here, especially in, I believe they call that the turret structure, the turret room.
The cupola
The
suite.
Oh, the cupola. Okay, there you go. There's a close up of the cupola. It has Manresa vibes going on. Manresa Castle out this way. Um, I didn't do any research on the particular ghost out in that way. Do you know any names or what kind of speculation on the ghosts that haunt the Geyser Grand, Jill?
Yeah, so there are a couple stories. So there's a woman who was a soiled dove, as they were referred to in those days. I believe the story is she fell in love with a client and he rejected her, and she took her life. And I believe it is that not the third floor cupola. I believe it's the suite just below the one with the light on the corner there.
Okay.
And that's where we had some crazy, crazy experiences. And then there's a story about down in the basement. There was, I believe it was like the hotel manager, his daughter, was sick, and she died there, or he died first, and I can't remember the whole story, and I don't want to ruin it. But we went on an investigation in the very beginning of A Flash of Beauty, before, when it was the Paranormal Paradox, and we were including hauntings and ghosts and whatnot. We actually went along on an investigation, and we were down in the basement, and there was all sorts of like shadow type stuff going on, and hearing things. And at one point, Brett was following one of the investigators who went to check something out, and he turned around and he looked really surprised, and then he looked at me, and I was still like on the other side of the basement, and he's like, I thought you were walking right behind me. He's like, there was someone right behind me right now. I'm like, well, it wasn't me. So
Chills. Yeah, there's usually a love child involved with these stories and a lady in white. These are tropes, but they could be avatars of our expectations of what's going to happen when you're on a ghost hunt. Here, this place has all the thrills and chills.
Ooh.
This is quite the what would you call this? A foyer, the main dining hall. Will we be dining in such fine uh, ambiance, Jill? Is this up for grabs?
Yeah,
Can we come in here?
that's the main dining room. Yeah,
Okay.
and check out the Tiffany stained glass ceiling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a whole it's an experience, and what's even better, there are so many times where I thought I was going to trip down those stairs. We've been going out there since well, Brett's been doing video work for them since the late '90s.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's how this has all happened. And at
yeah,
night, this place has a vibe all its own here.
yeah,
And
very much so.
yeah, so this is cool. I know Chris Kramer's going to be out there, coming in all the way from Arizona. Is that where Chris Kramer's at, Jill? Where
Yeah,
you at, Chris?
he is in northern Arizona.
AZ. Nice. We haven't seen him for a while. You can catch Chris over at A Flash of Beauty and watch his interview some months back on there. So that's really cool. Okay, so I've never been to Baker City. It's a new thing for me, but here we'll be, and that's coming up again. Go through it again. March 14th through the 16th. People, if they want to buy tickets early, they can buy them online.
They can, yes, you know what, and if Brett were here, he would drop the link in.
Yeah.
If you're on Facebook, go to the Flash of Beauty page. We have this up, and there's links involved. It
Okay.
is, otherwise, go I believe it says geysergrand.com.
They have an events page on
Thank you. Yeah,
geysergrandhotel.com.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's either Geyser Grand Hotel or Geyser
Mm,
Grand. Um,
mm-hmm.
I will drop that in the chat later when I can confirm it.
Yeah, and to Jeff Roan, I don't know if Jeff is on here, but you mentioned that he's been doing a lot of research up in Oak Ridge, Oregon, where we're going to have a conference this year as well. And yeah, Jeff, if you got the availability to add some new slides or some new perspective on what you have found going on in Oak Ridge, Oregon, it's pretty interesting. And I'd love to see it on the big screen. Now, Bigfoot and the paranormal for me, I'm wondering here, maybe by audience vote, do we want to get more Al Moon information out there, or do we want to? I've been toying with kind of picking up where Sonia Zohar is left off and getting into what is going on with this 14th century in France stuff because I think it's insanely interesting as far as its relationship to the Green Man and Pan and the Wild Man of Europe. And this is where it all starts, right? Like the 14th century in France, probably long before that, and this idea of this Harry Mary phenomena. So I don't know. I may throw that in there with the Al Moon stuff. I may just go completely off my noodle and talk strictly about old Harry Mary.
And Sonia, she had been looking into, she had made the connection with the oral history and traditions and folklore of the Basque people,
Yes,
which
yes,
is
yeah.
definitely worth diving into. I will
The,
go through, you know what?
I
Maybe
think it
I'll
was
bring some of her notebooks.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm going to take
yeah,
a look in there.
yeah. The Basque, I believe, worship Bassa John, if I'm pronouncing it right, which is basically a Bigfoot type wild man. So pretty fascinating. The Basque keep coming up time and time again in this research over and over. So there's some rabbit holes to look at. I have some old PowerPoints. They need touched up, and I think they need some Harry Mary attached to it as well. So we'll see what's going on with that.
Sounds like a plan.
And so you have some trips planned here, Jill. Some filming coming up in the next couple of months as well, and some of it you're already on your way to do here shortly. I do want to mention we did talk about Oak Ridge. Let's just go ahead and get that out of there. I don't know if the founder of Sasquatch Summerfest is with us, Priscilla Roseman and her famous dad, Ronnie Roseman. But if you have a chance to go to SasquatchSummerfest.com, look at the speakers we have here. And there's really no place you're going to see Don Monroe and MK Davis speaking together out here in the Pacific Northwest. It hasn't happened in years. Both extremely interesting guys. They're a little bit controversial because they have strong opinions about stuff that's happened and stuff they think is happened. And Don Monroe is really, he's a real life Indiana Jones character. Out of all the guys that I'm really excited to meet, I haven't met MK, so I don't know. I've met everybody else here on this list, but when I met Don Monroe, break out your camera for this guy because he just doesn't stop. And this guy, I don't know how old he is,
Oh,
but he hikes in his cowboy boots in his 80s, and this guy is a go-getter.
nice.
Age is not a number to this guy. He's been to the bowels of Lovelock Cave. He's gone deep inside tunnel systems in Nevada, California. He is on the hunt for answers, and I think that's a knife in his mouth. I think he actually walks around all day with a buck knife in his mouth. So this is going to be a really cool. When I found this dude, it was at a park where there were some rumored petroglyphs, and I just saw this old guy sleeping on the ground under a tree, and that's where he camped all night and hit with a jacket over his head under a tree. And he hopped up, put on his hiking boots, showed me these petroglyphs. You went there, Jill, and saw these for yourself. This is how I found them through Don
Oh,
Monroe.
okay. Okay,
Yeah,
very
so
cool.
really, really incredible guy. Of course, Doug Meacham. I haven't ever seen Doug Meacham do hypnotic regression in front of a live crowd. This is your chance to do it. He'll be live on stage. He has like a whole production. This isn't just like him in a clinical setting. Like he has a show. If you want him to have a show, he has a show, and he can do a lot with a crowd on stage, off stage, or so at least the YouTube clips I saw show that. So Doug will be there. Jason Kinsey of Searching for Squatch. Jason is a known quantity out here doing a lot of film work. You can catch his stuff online. Of course, Dr. Simeon Hine, Dark Matter Monsters. You want to check him out, and Black Swan. And Christy Sanders, met her for the first time, local researcher. Dr. Robert Alley, really just, he's one of the four horsemen now. Like he's been in this game longer than I have, that's for damn sure. And he's a wealth of information between Don Monroe, Robert Alley, Rich Germeau. You guys, there's a wealth of information. These guys just don't stop. And there is going to be an opportunity. Also, Tara Harris is going to be
Yeah.
showing up there.
Yeah.
Psychic Tara Harris from A Flash of Beauty. There's going to be two venues going on. So we have the main stage at the park, outdoor venue. You can bring your RV camper. I think there's like a lot of room. I know there's a lot of room. So if you want to stay at the park on the Willamette River in Oak Ridge, Oregon, in the middle of summer, practically for next to nothing, you can park your RV camper right there, go fishing in the Willamette River, bring your trout pole, bring your bicycle, bring your hiking boots, and bring your own camp chair too. And there's a beer garden. There's going to be some light music, I think, periodically. And then there's a second venue at the Area 58 Museum. And so there's just a lot going on in Oak Ridge this year. And I think Jeremiah will be there from Bigfoot Society as well. So that's my spiel on Sasquatch Summerfest. Last year, we got a little taste of the wildfire season. I don't think that's going to happen 2 years in a row, but people still came, fire and all.
It was hot last year too. I just remember it being just so hot. So this year I'm gonna have a little cooler at my booth, and I'll be well hydrated. I know last year Casey was bringing me food to keep me well fed,
Yes.
energy up. So I will be more prepared this time.
Yeah, Casey, boy, that gal, she knows how to cook. She was walking around with like a little wicker picnic basket like a a fairy tale character handing out stuff. Just going through some of the comments here. Hand pink waving. Slay is in with us. If you guys have any comments here or questions, now's your time to ask away. Otherwise, we can get into the next phase of this live event if you like, Jill.
Yes, it is time. It is
Okay.
time.
All right. Well, so members only on the Flash of Beauty YouTube channel have gotten to know iteration of a new show that is on the Flash of Beauty YouTube channel, Olympic Strange Days. And this is your chance to get to know what I'm up to here in the Olympic Peninsula, the northernmost part of Washington State, really. You hit the ocean if you just keep on veering left. We have a saying out here, there's no law west of the Elwha River, but there sure is a lot of action out here. And people got a chance here to get a taste of episode 1, which Jill, I haven't seen what the members are saying about episode 1, but in short, are they being kind? Because it's
Yeah.
my first venture out here, and it's just literally just me with my GoPro camera and my willingness to do so.
No, and I'll tell you what, Tobe, in the community section, I made a post and I did an informal poll
Mm-hmm.
to the people, to our good listeners, to our audience, asking them what they wanted for Valentine's Day from their sweetheart. And I offered, their first choice was a Class A sighting. The second one was new research gear. Third was a camping trip in an active area, or a new video series from A Flash of Beauty. And it was neck and neck with the Class A sighting, but I think what people want is a Class T sighting. Class T for Tobe. So the last I
Well,
checked, people were excited to see this new video series that you're presenting, and they will see it tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific.
okay. Well, no stopping it now. It's out there, and this is going to be a weekly show. There's going to be some quirky stuff that's going to happen on Olympic Strange Days. There's going to be some hidden history stuff that's happened out there. There's going to be some archaeological, some paleontology stuff going on. I'm digging in deep, and there's a lot of stuff just going outside of my doorstep here, but I've got some real characters. There's old pioneers that live out here, like generations of families that have been up here since they were trapping beavers, and even before that. And I just found that out today, that this goes back to 14,000 years ago. There were people here, and settlements that are just being found. So there's a lot going on. It's going to snowball on itself, kind of like probably the Bigfoot phenomena does, and lead me in some interesting directions. So I'm just following all the leads I can. If anybody has a local story here in the Olympic Peninsula proper, or just on the edges of it, even an hour outside of the Olympic Peninsula would be great. I'd love to know about it. You can get a hold of me at olympicstrangedays@gmail.com, olympicstrangedays@gmail.com, and just give me a tip. That would be your chance here. You don't have to go on camera to give me a tip. And so that will be happening every Friday at 7 o'clock. And so tomorrow you'll be seeing an episode with Alex Liberato. He said I could say his last name. And Alex is an abductee. In fact, it's a father and son abductee. I met Alex when I did my live event out here in Port Townsend, and captured his story. The first time I heard it was on film when we were walking through town there. So all these episodes will probably be under 30 minutes. I don't think we're probably going to go over that. So it's really interesting to find out that these people are so earnest about their incredible encounters, especially when it comes to things like abduction scenarios, which is probably the hardest thing. I mean, we haven't even really got into this in the wave of disclosure. The other day we had Representative Luna come up and talk, at the podium about opening up these case files of USOs and UFO cases, but no one's really digging into opening up the files on abductees, people like Whitley Strieber.
Mm.
So I think this is an honest story, and I look forward for you guys taking a peek at it tomorrow at 7. But beyond that, tonight, Jill,
Tonight.
Valentine's special at
Yes.
12 a.m. If you can set your alarm, you're going to go to bed immediately after this live stream, and you're going to tuck yourself in, and you're going to dream of Sasquatch and UFOs like you always do. And then at 11:59, you're going to wake up your computer, and you're going to reserve your spot for Olympic Strange Days 2025, October 9th and 12th.
Yes.
And there's a limited run on tickets here, right? Like this last year, Jill, I think we had room for 25 or so people, and it sold out rather quickly.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this one will sell out quickly because we opened the door to 40 people. And so there'll be close to 50 people out here when this is all said and done. We open it up for RV camping, very limited. Only 5 spots available for people that have an RV or a camper 20 feet and under, but 35 spots for car camping, hammock camping. Yes, there is a way to hang a hammock in the woods and sleep at night comfortably. I'll show you, or tent camping. And we're all going to be confined together in this beautiful little spot on the Solduck River. But I wanted to give a little bit of provenance to people what happened last year. Here's a photo of last year's conference here. We did that up in an area called Hamma Hamma. And here's a portion of the group, not everybody here, but most of us in this shot. And I think this was on our way out the door, maybe the last night at camp. And it was just a really good time. A lot of great friends, a lot of the same people possibly showing up again for this round here. Of course, this is where I met Larry and Inella Benz, and they will be some of your field guides. And so more pictures. Dr. Simeon Hine was teaching a remote viewing class last year around the campfire. Here's a great shot with Mount Jefferson in the background and a very unsettled Steve in the background here by Priscilla. Maybe a tad bit skeptical in that one, Steve, but by the end of it, he was probably a master remote viewer. We also went down and did a little Bigfooting here. Here's a classic shot of Anelia and Inella down here with her husband, and they actually were casting some tracks. Now, I don't know exactly what we had going on here, but they were little tiny, like 9-inch tracks that were separated by over 2 feet.
Ooh.
And although they did have a step pattern of a person, the step length without the heel divot in there was pretty interesting. And here's a little close up of it. Down in the lake bed, people wander around in their rafts and get out of their rafts and inner tube periodically. But it's perfect for practicing no matter what they were. They were in human range, but, still perfect for what we were doing, which was practicing. We also had last year, and we will again this year, a movie premiere outdoors. People that showed up for Olympic Strange Days 2024 got a real treat, and they got to see unedited footage from a single interview that you and Brett and Mike did from Voices in the Wilderness, which was a godsend. We even someone brought Starlink. And although I don't think we need Starlink where we're going this year, it just worked flawlessly. So everybody there had internet access in the middle of nowhere, and we're able to bring up on Zoom the director, Brett, your hubby there, Jill, and he could introduce a movie. So Nancy Fry brought her, please bring this back, Nancy, this cool little stove. And here's Simeon Hine getting ready to teach a remote viewing class at night. It was perfect. It started off a little rough with the weather, but that's what it's all about when you're out there embracing the elements. And for me, I was just like, come on, I want the right people to come to this thing. And I guess the way that you get the right people to come back and attend these things is that you kind of the process of staying out in the woods is not everybody's cup of tea. They prefer a hotel. Wink, wink, nod, nod, Jill. But when you
Stop.
get used to it, when you're out in the woods for and you have that camaraderie with other people, and everybody smells the same, everybody's got bad head, everybody's going down to the river with a bar of lava soap, and to me, it's just how you make real friends. So we're going to be doing that again this year, October 9th through 12th. Again, tickets go on sale at midnight tonight. Workshop film screenings, and here's the cast of characters we have coming to this one here. I just thought I would do a picture jumble, and I think you recognize some of the faces here along the way. The newest add-on is the lower right-hand corner is Maureen Morgan, who's no longer affiliated with MUFON. She's a rogue independent researcher who is just now digging into the idea that this is, well, I shouldn't say just now, but she's solely researching the fact that this is somehow all related to consciousness, not only UFOs, but the phenomena itself. And I think it's going to be really fascinating to have her embedded with us. And she's super excited about it. I was just like, "Are you sure, Maureen? Like, we're not at a hotel with catering. You're going to be like in a trailer or a tent, and pop up shelter for 3 or 4 days, and it's going to be cold." She's super excited about it. And then, of course, in the upper left hand corner, Dave Grant, archaeologist associated with the local Navy up here in Bangor, Washington. Erin's going to be talking, my girlfriend, Erin Jackson, talking the first time in a group setting about the Moss Man. And I'll let her explain exactly what all the Moss Man is, or you can go check out her video at aflashofbeauty.com. But here's in short what's happening. October 9th through 12th, multi-day adventure deep in the Olympic Peninsula. I'll just read this real quick. This isn't a conference. This is the Olympic Strange Days 4-day experience into the unknown, where the trees have stories to tell and the night sky holds more than stars. Hey, thank you for rewriting that for me, Alex. He has a way with words. At the heart of this journey, our expert field guide, renegade researchers, seasoned trackers, and experiencers who have spent years chasing the edge of the unexplained. They walk the liminal spaces where Bigfoot leaves gifts, lights move with intent, and the impossible becomes reality. Now they're taking you with them. So you get the idea here. We're going to be knee deep in it. And thank you so much, Nancy Fry, for these beautiful graphics here. Between Alex Liberato and Nancy Fry, this website I could never afford to build on my own took shape, and it's over at olympicstrangedays.com. It's got lots of little twists and turns in it and drop down menus. It has videos, it has pictures, and I couldn't have done it without him. But in short, this is rustic camping, y'all. 4 days, 3 nights. Bring your own gear, including tents, sleeping arrangements, all your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinners on you, especially if you have allergies. Limited trailers. Pretty much we're providing a spot, the speakers, some coffee, hot water, some snacks, and some adventures. Guided hikes, guided experiences back at camp. It should be a lot of fun. And it's all happening. Here's the map. We're going to be right on the Solduck River outside of Beaver, Washington. If you go to the left of the map down to the corner, you'll hit Forks. You'll hit the Hoh Rainforest, the Hoh Forest, Ruby Beach. If you break right, upper right-hand corner, you're going to start heading back towards Crescent Lake, Port Angeles. But way up there where it says Dolly Solduck Drive, the Solduck River, up at the upper left-hand corner, that's going to take you to the wild area where Rich Germeau had his encounter near Third Beach. And so La Push, Washington, and Rich Germeau have some unfinished business. And this is your chance to go out with Rich in the bush to where it all happened. And that wasn't possible last year, although people did go out with Rich and check out what was going on as far as an old trail cam that he had out in the woods, I believe, for over 12 years. that was the adventure Rich offered last year. But this year, you're going to go to where it all basically started for the guy. And if you don't feel like going on a hike, don't do it. Stay back at camp, hang out with me and the kids, and we have stuff going on there. We're going to have a 24-hour campfire going for people. We'll provide all the wood. You don't have to worry about that. If you have proclivity to not sit around the campfire, then the choice is yours. Some people are allergic to smoke, but we'll have a bonfire area up at what's called the Crow's Nest, and that's where the trailers will be. And we'll just spread out. We reserve the entire camp to ourselves. There's not going to be any riffraff that we didn't invite out there unless you're the riffraff, and in which case we'll uninvite you. And tonight, for $50, you reserve your spot, and then you pay cash at the door. So it's kind of like an installment plan, right? Like, I'm not asking for money up front. This is your chance to reserve it for $50. I think it's like a $3 service fee for $53. Reserve your spot. Same price for trailer parking as it is for camping. And then we'll see you on the 9th. If you want to come on the 9th, you can come on the 9th. We'll be there first thing. So that's what's going on tonight, midnight. I don't know if tickets will be there in the morning. They may not. If they are, then, or get your ticket in the morning. But
and this isn't a situation where the internet bots are gonna buy all the tickets and then sell them at skyrocketed
yes,
rates. Like, I
right.
paid $500 to blah blah blah.
That's a brilliant idea. Maybe I should buy my own ticket.
No.
No, I don't even know. I mean, they're not invited to do such crazy things. Never even thought of that before, Jill. But
See how I plant seeds
yeah,
everywhere I go.
so
So
devious.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, you guys buy straight from Tobe. None of this secondhand, black market
Right.
Olympic Strange Day ticket shenanigans. So
Yeah, and then we'll all have maybe a couple different meetups online to answer any questions. We did that last year. We did like 2 or 3 meetups, and this is a public place. It's a public spot. It's called Dolly's Solduck River Campground, Dawleys. You could stay there beforehand, check it out, see if it's something you want to do. And I love it there. It's very rustic, but you have enough amenities to kind of get by, mainly a porta potty and what you bring. But you're only like 15 minutes from Forks, or 20 minutes from Forks if you need something. And it
okay.
has full cell phone coverage. And if you're into fishing, I don't know, can you fish in October? All I know is that the huge salmon were being taken out of the Solduck River when I stayed there. And if you're into fishing and you can fish in October, I know some people won't attend this camp out because they'll be hunting as well. I think rifle season starts in a lot of places. So some of the guys are going to bow out here because they're dedicated hunters, and I get it. But if you want to go fishing instead, we're going to be on the Solduck River, and you can put the rifle down and pick up the salmon rod. So it's all on you.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. I was so bummed that I missed it last year. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, last year we had a few surprises. We had Ron Moorhead show up at the last minute. Basically, on our way out the door, we had an after party, and Ron and his daughter Ronica, was it Ronica and Rhonda, both showed up, which was so cool. I think Mike showed up along with Brett, drove up from Portland,
Mm-hmm.
and so super cool. Well, let's go into my yearly rant now, Jill, if you don't mind. Now, once a year, a photo pops up on my memories. Like, I'm getting a lot of snowpocalypse photos on Facebook of what 6 years ago we had a huge snowstorm this time of year, so I'm getting a lot of that. But periodically, I just have to cleanse myself over the fact that people don't love this photo as much as I do. So I have to, in order to talk about this here, we need to talk about these people. And so This is the photograph on the right. First of all, we're going to talk about here. You recognize the hat, probably. You recognize the smile. This is Adam Davies, and we'll say his friend Lori Simmons on the right, and they're celebrating the Pacific Northwest like any researchers would. And Lori Simmons, I don't know everything there is to know about Lori Simmons. We're friends. I think Lori Simmons has stopped researching full time due to health reasons. But Lori is an author, and her father was, I believe, a timber baron, lumberjack, in the little town of Marble Mount, Washington. And as Lori grew up, she was told about the big guy, and so the boss of the woods, big guy, Sasquatch, was a thing for Lori's dad. And he kind of knew all about the big guy or big guys and gals. And they would come in and out of the woods, I believe, while he's working, to the point where it was no longer a myth to him. And Lori just grew up hearing that. Well, she believed her dad, and word got out that Lori kind of had it going on as far as evidence. Enter Adam Davies, and so Adam kind of took Lori under his wings, and or maybe it was the other way around. And Lori showed Adam just how real all this could be in the little town of Marble Mount. Now we won't get into this what we'll call the knocking tree, which is a whole other subject on its own. But what I can tell you is that Dr. Sykes came over from the UK and actually validated Lori's claims that there was this giant tree in this national park in Marble Mount that kind of had a mind of its own. Now, if we know anything about land spirits and the mythos of Sasquatch going into trees and coming out of trees, um, this is what Lori Simmons was experiencing. And all I can say is Dr. Sykes was involved with that experience. I was told I can't really say any more beyond that, but he confirmed what she was saying while he was on site there. And I think Dr. Sykes was involved with the DNA study, I believe, in some level, maybe
Mhm.
refuting the DNA study or looking into some of the samples of DNA. Regardless, Adam Davies was there along with Tom Cantrell, and we should mention that you're going to be with Tom Cantrell this weekend up here in Washington, correct?
Yeah, up in Enumclaw, he's hosting kind of like I wouldn't call it a town hall, maybe, but like he invited us to his set where he lives to do a presentation. And so Brett and I are going to drive up Saturday morning and hang with Tom.
Okay, so Tom Cantrell um, has done a ton of research on the picture to your left here. And this is the picture we're talking about here. Now, this is the original image. There's actually two images here. And so, what's going on in this frame is there's a subject in white. To the right of it, you'll see, as I zoom in a little bit, there is a picnic table here. And there is a game cam pointed at Adam and Lori asleep behind the picnic table just in case something happens. Now, I think the temperature is below 40 degrees. It's probably much colder than that. Tom Cantrell knows how cold it was that day, but extremely cold. And so they're laying on the forest floor out in the open because if you want to have action, then you kind of present yourself totally exposed. Sorry, but that seems to be the case. Like if you're in a tent, you don't get as much action. If you're laying on the forest floor or in a hammock or on a cot, you tend to get close up visits. So there is a production channel, a production crew. I think it's like Extraordinary Expeditions from the UK, in tow with Adam Davies, who's also from the UK, to film Marble Mount and Laurie Adams' Big Guy. And so they put a game cam out. Well, as Lori and Adam are asleep side by side behind that picnic table, out of nowhere, two images are exposed. And this is one of the two images. I can't find the secondary image here, but I'll tell you what, this image here to me is extraordinary because it's just so hard for me to believe what people believe they see here. And anybody in chat can argue with me at this point here. I'm used to it. Adam Davies will tell you that that is not him in a sleeping bag. but people that weren't there have no idea how cold it was, have no idea what Adam Davies was wearing, say that this is Adam Davies in a sleeping bag on his knees having a cigarette or something to that effect. Well, here's a picture, I believe, of Adam Davies getting up that afternoon to probably run to the woods to go to the bathroom or something. And you can see here, he's wearing dark pants and a white shirt. This is just one of the images I found on the internet here. However, this image here is so inexplicable as far as anatomy of something with a conical shaped head. Um, in fact, well, let's just go through the anatomy here. Trapezius, a left shoulder bucking out from the left side, a left elbow, a right shoulder. You can't really see the right elbow because it's behind the picnic table. The bottoms of both feet, you can count the toes. You can see the curl and the black wear on the bottom of the feet. The butt seems to be kind of flexed inwards a little bit. That's the only thing about this shot that kind of perplexes me, because when you see Patty's rear in the PG film, you see big glutes, and you would need that for big travel and big gaits and musculature. This here, you don't really see that. You see kind of like a V-shaped. You can kind of see where the butt crack is, though there is some shadowing there. I can't really zoom in, but what do you think, Jill? Do you see what I see?
Yes. And under the circumstances, I mean, if Adam says it's not him, what does he gain by misrepresenting himself?
I agree with that. And what do people gain? Well, here's what. So Tom Cantrell went back to the site, I think at least a couple times, and Tom is like, he's a math. Was he a math teacher?
He did something very mathematical. I don't know if it was engineering, but he's a number guy. He's a number guy.
Yeah, so he's a number guy big time. And the width of the shoulders of that thing and the height of the shoulders, let alone to where the dip down head is, the head's not fully erect. The head is downward, right? And the traps are going up into like a hoodie formation or a V top. And if that's a sleeping bag, it's made of spandex. That's the first thing. Like, you can see the musculature. It's like a pair of Lululemon yoga pants. Like, this is not like a regular sleeping bag, right? You would agree with that?
I agree. And just to throw this in really quick, hypothetically, if this were Adam, like smoking a cigarette, it's a weird position. I don't know. It's like, who would be hunched over smoking? And wouldn't there be I think, how long does a cigarette last? Like 5-7 minutes or so, maybe. But like, wouldn't there be images of, like, wouldn't the camera be set off of like him moving around or kind of looking or smoke or something?
No, I totally agree with you. And I think it's the only reason they say that is because on the second frame, and if you play the two pictures back and forth, it's like a little tiny movie. And there's the second frame, you see a little white puff of something come out by that conical shaped head statement there, and a little something jet out that looks solid. So, the skeptic says that that's a finger and a cigarette, which, let's say, you can't prove otherwise because we weren't there. But if Adam says he didn't get up to go smoking, and the other thing too, weird, Jill, like other photos that I have or other videos, is this doesn't circulate on the internet like all the other hoaxes. If you try to find this online, it's pretty difficult to find. In fact, the old production company that owns the rights to this picture folded. You can't find any. I can't remember the name of it. If anybody can remember the name of the production company, But I think it's really weird. And if Tom Cantrell was here, which he should be, then he would talk about just how perplexing this is, because there should be an entry of the subject, even if it's Adam Davies, since it's motion activated. You
Yeah.
should see Adam get up slowly and then, go back to bed. This is 2 frames of something that just appears. Now, here's this maybe the scary part or the interesting part is that if you talk about, let's talk about Barb Shoop's campouts. How often does the Shoop troop talk about laying out in the open and suddenly get a visitation of something coming up to them? Maybe other people can't see it. Maybe only an individual can. Um, Even Matt Johnson talks about that, laying out on a cot, having subjects coming up to them and visit them. And I just think that that's the way to have an interact. That's why I lay in a hammock, because I'm hoping for something to occur. Like I don't, I'm crazy like that, and I just don't think that these things are going to kill you or hurt you. I don't think that. I think they're curious, and this thing probably knew Lori, and probably didn't know Adam so well, and phased into existence, and then phased right out, or maybe shot off like a yellow lightning bolt. So, to me, we'll take one more look at it here. It's really one of the more interesting shots out there that's been hidden from you all for years. A lot of people have never seen this. I showed it the other day to what's his name, who's working on the Patterson Gimlin footage
Oh,
reprisal.
Todd?
Todd Gatewood had
Yeah.
never seen this before. Blown away. I showed this to Marcia K. Moore. Now Marcia's no slouch when it comes to anatomy.
Yeah.
Um, she immediately saw the same anatomy that I did, and Adam Davies and Lori Simmons said it wasn't them. So what more do you want? So that's my story with I guess we'll call it the Marble Mount Bigfoot footage.
Very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we can, you know what? When I see Tom on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
I will get an update from him if he has any additional thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, he has a very strong opinion about that shot, since he knows Lori, he knows Adam, he knows that campground, and he knows how cold it was.
Mm.
Like for whatever reason, it being super cold that night has something to do with the validity of the picture itself.
And honestly, like in my head, I see it as if it were Adam smoking a cigarette, there would be the classic or the expected, like looking spiking the camera, smoking frame of it, like him looking around and looking right in the camera.
Yeah, when you're using IR, because that's infrared, not FLIR, your eyes glow, I
Mhm.
think, like a little bunny rabbit, right? Like there's an obvious eye shine quality that should automatically pick up. But just like everything else, Jill, it's just right on the edge of being believable. So much of this evidence is just like, we're gonna give him 95, we'll give him 96, but no one's getting 100%. So I don't know. Maybe you'll be the gal that gets it.
And is what I'd be interested in is I know you said Tom's been out there, he went back and was doing calculations and whatnot. It'd be interesting to go get a group up there camping again, set up like try to reenact or recreate that same setup just to
Yeah,
see.
and it may have been Lori Simmons that was the magnet for the phenomena. Um, and I don't, like I said, I don't think she's researching anymore due to health reasons, but I bet she would love to be involved with that if she could, because uh, listen, I went to this. There's this tree, the knocking tree, that is near where that Sasquatch photo was taken, and people have said they've heard roars come out of that tree. They've heard voices come out of that tree. And if you get close to it and you knock and you talk to the tree will knock back. Now, the skeptics say, well, there's a branch about 50, 45 feet up, a big old Doug fir branch. And when the wind hits it right, it rubs up against that tree, and somehow, some way, the knock only comes out at, I don't know, 8 feet from the root system. So it's not knocking up there; it's knocking at eye level with you. I heard that with my own ears. Others have said that they've heard screams and roars coming out from that tree. They've seen heads peeking out in the middle of the day, as though, listen, I mean, this is what people describe. They see beings coming out of the barks of these trees, right? I mean, things happen for an opportunity's sake when they're popping in even thin trees. Like this is a super thick Doug fir, not too far from the main road as you're driving into the camp spot. And you'll see little offerings. People have come that believe Lori's story, and they'll leave little shiny stones or quartz, so you know you're at the right tree. But man, oh man, if there's
What,
roars or some kind of talking coming out from that tree and that can be recorded, um, that would be an amazing thing.
so what would happen? I'm not suggesting or advocating, but so what happens like when trees like this that have alleged activity or are home to said creatures? I retract that. If the Bigfoot are using it as like some way of like coming and going and whatnot, I don't want to start a thing like, oh, they're creatures, but kind of walk that one back. But
They're people, Jill.
well, yeah. But what happens if one of these trees gets cut down? Is that
Oh,
is that a thing? Is that an issue? Obviously,
yeah.
yeah.
And maybe they, yeah, like cutting the quick on a dog's toenail, they just squeal. You got to be careful which ones you prune or trim. I don't
Oh,
know. I mean, if we're getting into the Green Man thing, and we will get into the Green Man thing this October because that's a wild one. That's not what Lori described. It was definitely Sasquatch looking in nature, and that image again seems to dictate that that's exactly what her dad was describing all those years ago. So they used to do a conference out in Marble Mount. I don't know if they're going to do it again. Sevilla, if you're ever on here and watch this stream, do another conference out in Marble Mount because we want to follow up on Lori's footage.
hold on, Ashley. They say you can hear trees scream when they get cut down. Well, maybe we know why now.
Oh my gosh, Ashley for the win with the crazy comment here. I did not know that. And I'm burning a lot of wood right now, Ashley. What am I doing in real life? Yeah. Um,
Oh, think about that. What if the wood that you are carving with your wood watchers,
oh,
if
that's right.
it's enchanted wood that has been inhabited by a Sasquatch coming and going, possibly using that tree as a portal?
There's been a few things that have happened with the wood watchers here, and including Kevin Carney, who just made a comment. Kevin talking about experiencing the knocking. Yeah, they were with us when we heard that. Not everybody could hear the knocking as well, but it was very obvious to me, and I believe you, Kevin, that there was a rhythmic. It had a rhythm to it, like dun 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 dun. It wasn't just like gong gong, like a limb should do, if I remember correctly. And Kevin also purchased or was gifted a wood watcher from me, and the wood watcher was picked up off of the hook on his private property, and I believe set down face down gently. I've heard that a couple different times from people that they have been messed with. So maybe to your point, Jill, there's something more going on with the wood that I carve. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's all I've got here in today's little Sasquatch news. We're at the top of the hour, Jill. Any oh, let's just plug this one last thing here. Coming up, Mount Hood Sasquatch Festival, April 11th. You can go to Mount Hood Sasquatch Festival and get a ticket now. There's going to be some big names there. A lot of big names coming to this one. Some other films are going to be showing there amongst a flash of beauties. Paranormal Bigfoot or whatever we're going to put together for them. Mike Ferry will be there along with myself, and we're going to give them something different to talk about because there's a lot of flesh and blood perspective here at the Mount Hood Sasquatch Festival, and we're going to throw them a curveball like we always do.
Always a good time. Always a good time. And stay tuned. We've got some really, our next interview that's going to drop is going to be one for the books. And
Oh,
we will actually, okay, the next two interviews are ones for the books, but this next one was quite the adventure that we recently filmed down in California. So
it may be your most, maybe the most important interview you've done, as far as the caliber of person that you're talking to. Like as far as like family lineage, I don't know how you even got this interview. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
you know, good manners go a long way.
That's right. Don't be afraid to ask.
Just be polite.
Be polite.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. A lot of travel coming up. We got Voices in the Wilderness in our crosshairs to finish, along with the Flash of Beauty 3. We are just strategizing and trying to figure out our schedules to get all the interviews and get editing in addition to everything else going on.
Just a quick question here, Jill. This is your wheelhouse from Paradox. How can I connect with someone psychic? I'm Trina. Find a partner I can do good with and learn how to use my abilities with. I think she just wants to know how she connect with a fellow psychic. Is there? You guys all hang out by a cauldron somewhere?
No!
How do you do it?
Email? I don't know. Go ahead, shoot us an email at info@bigfootdoc.com. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll multitask here. And I can share whatever resources I have or know. info@bigfootdoc.com. That look right? Sure. Yeah. There's an email. It'll go straight to me.
Oh, there it is. Info at Bigfoot. Let's put it up here on the screen. Info at bigfootdoc.com. That's where you can, anybody that has any questions, right, Jill?
That's the go-to email. It goes to me. It goes to Brett.
Okay.
We're pretty good.
Cool.
We try to answer as fast as we can, but sometimes it does take a few days. So.
Okay. And for those that are going to stay up late to buy tickets tonight, olympicstrangedays.com, 12 o'clock, 11:55 tonight. Get your tickets, and we'll see you next Thursday. That's all I got, Jill. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. Bye, kids.
Bye, everyone.